Hey everyone, this is Peter with Roland. I'm with the TR-8S today looking at the performance shortcuts that you can use with it. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the mute functions. There's a mute button here, which normally people will press to go into the mute mode where they can mute and unmute tracks. However, when you're playing and you're in the TR-rec mode, it's really easy to just hold mute and press the instruments that you want to mute from here, without actually having to go into that mute page. Now, when you're in this mute page, it's also easy to mute and unmute things. However, you can also solo something by holding Shift and pressing the instrument that you want to solo. Now, if I want to clear that solo, I can hold mute and then press clear. One of the most handy shortcuts that you can do is using the delay and reverb sends just by holding the instrument that you want to send and then moving the level knob of those effects. So if I'm playing in real time and I want to send the snare drum to the reverb, all I need to do is press and hold the instrument and then move the level knob, and it does a reverb send. Same thing with hi-hats or any other instrument on here. I can press and hold the instrument button and then move the level knob, and it does a really nice reverb or delay send effect without having to mess with the overall return volume of the effect itself. When you're creating drums on the TR-8S, you could use an accent to give a global volume boost on the step for the entire pattern. This gives you a lot more dynamic variation, but what you can also use is instrument-specific velocity adjustments, meaning I can select hi-hat, select a note on the sequence, and use the accent level knob to tell it to do a velocity anywhere between 1 and 127. So if I play this back and start to press and hold certain notes, give it different velocities, I get much more of a organic type of groove happening because it's doing different velocities on a much more granular level than what you do with just accents. And of course, if you wanted to use accents, you have that capability, and just by holding Shift and pressing on the sequence, I can add half accents as well, which will give just a half volume boost. When you want to record motion onto your sequence, you can do that by real-time pressing record and then moving knobs. However, if you just want to do something quick and temporary, you can press and hold the record button and then adjust while you're holding the record button down. And it doesn't record enable after you've let it go, but it has recorded that parameter onto the sequence. So if I want to do something that's really quick and I don't want to risk touching other controls and recording that onto the sequence, if I want something a little bit more precise, just press and hold the record button, make my automation, record onto the sequence, and then it's locked in there. Now if I want to get rid of those recordings, all I need to do is press and hold the motion on button and then move the knobs that I want to erase. So if I want to get experimental with creating grooves on the fly, I can also do a random pattern on the TR-8S. Meaning, I have a drum groove right here, but if I press and hold pattern select and hit the sample button, it gives me a random pattern. But what's interesting is that it gives me the bass drum on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. So there's still some sort of like beat happening, and I can keep doing that and either come up with something that I like and edit it from there, or I can press any other button besides the TR-rec button to go back to the original. So I could almost use this as a second method of doing a drum fill if I wanted to. Just hold pattern select, hit sample, and then go back to the original pattern. Now if I want to commit those changes, let me do it again here, pattern select, sample. The TR-rec button is lit right here. If I press it, now it's recorded onto the variation that I have selected. One of my favorite shortcuts on the TR-8S is the ability to reprogram these control knobs without having to go into the menu. It's super easy to do. All you need to do is press Control Select and then move the control knob to assign it to its own parameter. So in this case, I have the snare drum and I want to have it do a reverb send effect. Now if I play the pattern back and move the control knob, it is a dedicated reverb send. However, all of the other control knobs can be something different. I can also select the hi-hat here and then control select and then move the control knob of the hi-hat to reassign it to say a delay send. Now there's a little bit of delay action that I can put on the hi-hat, and it makes it so that if I want to make a quick change to an instrument without having to go into the menu, this is the control that I reach for. There's a lot of shortcuts on the TR-8S, and these shortcuts here are really great to use when you're performing live because it makes it very fluid and easy to change some in-depth features without going into the menu.